All right, so hey, I want to get to some stuff real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mute everybody real quick. Okay, so a lot of us don't maybe a lot of times you don't understand the comp plan and things like that. But here's what I'm going to show you is the biggest thing that we have going for us is when somebody joins, you have to remember that all these little tiny dots, which you should or maybe can or can't see, represent customers. Okay, and you can, that's what makes our company and our opportunities so powerful is there's many people, like 90% of the people out there don't want to build teams because they think they've been conditioned to think of it in a different way, or they think they have to take responsibility for people, or they don't want the headache, or they think they have to be a manager or something because of traditional business. Okay. But when you get customers and all of a sudden you start making some extra money on customers, it's important that you share your story on the customer side of this. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get to the point where the customer stories are what is going to attract people to your business to be, to join. Like because I've done networking so long, I know how to go after and recruit network marketers, right? That's my core thing. But the other thing that you need to remember, and I think this is really important, is that all of these customers that you've obtained that get, and you're going to continually grow that customer base, every single one of those customers is potentially a lead for the opportunity because you've introduced them to do the service, you've introduced them to do the business, to use the platform. And I know a lot of people that's one of their main recruiting things is they basically introduce people to become iGo customers. And then after they've gotten them as a customer, they see them activating stuff. They basically send them to iDecide. They said, hey, I just wanted to let you know what I'm into. So they didn't try to recruit them on the front end, but they got them as a customer. And then they kind of explained something in a simple fashion that converted some of these customers / leads into other TSAs. Okay. Now, here's the thing that you have to also understand. In networking, we always draw things out like a pyramid, right? But each one of these things, so if this is you, we'll make this so you can see this, is everybody that you get in yourself is basically first generation to you, right? So all these things, everybody that is grown from what you've started, this would be all considered first level, okay, first generation. So if this was you and this was Lisa right here, if Lisa can go out there and she can talk to a few of people, and let's say they become TSAs with handfuls of customers, okay? These would be your second generation. Okay, Tom over here, same thing. These are all your second generation because it's kind of the whole 6 degrees of separation scenario, right? And they're spread out. You don't know where they are, where they're going. And then obviously right here, if this person, let me see, I can go this one. Trying to see if I can see this still. And these would be your third generation, right? So what you're looking at right here is that you did your job. You gathered some customers. Okay, you gathered customers. Then maybe of these customers or people you introduced the business to, you got this person in, this one, and this one. These people gathered customers, right? Then these people got a few people in who eventually got some customers. So the power of networking has always been in leverage, okay? Because if you can create leverage, that's how wealth is created. That's how freedom is created. And there's really only two ways to create real leverage. It's either people at work or money at work. And most people do not have enough money, meaning you invest money and your money multiplies, right? You got $1 million in cash that you put into some stocks or whatever. That's money at work. Or you buy properties with it. Okay, that's money at work. If you don't understand this concept, read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and definitely second book, Cash Flow Quadrant, okay? But the power of networking is that this is now leverage for you. All these people, these TSAs that have handfuls of customers, okay, this is what the close to the end of the PowerPoint presentation looks like, of the slide of if you got 10 customers and they got 10 customers and they got 10 customers, adds up to be, okay? So obviously the larger these organizations become, the larger your family, your team, your group becomes with these customers, that gives you the ability for more leverage, because some of these people could be in different parts of the United States, different parts of the world. You could have customers coming in over here in Europe, customers coming in over here in Africa, customers over here coming in from Australia, customers over here in England. You get the idea. Okay, so all of these things, because the most important thing that you have to understand is this is a customer acquisition play. Customer acquisition play. Rick Fenton, mute yourself. Customer acquisition play, okay? Meaning that the more customers you acquire, obviously the more opportunity you have, and I never put out a guarantees, the more opportunity you have for your income going up, right? Because the power of this is that these people having customers. So I've hammered that to in your heads, right? Okay, so the long term, why you're doing this is this, because what if your organization grows to the point that you're overriding 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 customers a month that have a few services that they're using, whether it's travel or whether it's, other services, Vibe, you get the idea, right? It really can add up. Okay, so let me kind of clear out this off. So the big picture right there is that. Now, in the beginning of this thing, that's going to be you, okay? Is to build that customer base, you have to do a couple things. One, you've got to get to get customers yourself, but two, you find other people that are going to get the customers with you, right? We have a thing in our comp plan called a dual team. Dual team. I was writing B for binary when it should be an R for right. Okay. So in the dual team, what you have to understand is that as a person buys a package, okay, we don't get paid for bringing people or recruiting people. We don't get paid for recruiting people. We get paid for selling packages. Basically, the ability, these website portals is really what we're selling. And each one comes with an equivalent of what we call either CV, which stands for commissionable volume, or sometimes you hear it say BV, business volume, or QV. QV is qualifying volume. Qualifying volume means, how you rank advance. Like, because the reason the company has rank advancements is everybody's competitive. Everybody wants to be recognized for a good job. And it helps you stair step your way to bigger income if you have a track to run on, right? So predominantly why companies have promotion levels, like executive director takes, director, the first position in our business takes 2,500 in qualifying volume, QV. And that could be done with two first class packs and a business pack anywhere in your organization, right? Just basically because that would be 2,500 in volume, because a first class pack comes with 1,000 in QV, but 600 goes here. Okay, so let me talk about that. So what happens is when somebody comes in your organization, when you personally sponsor them, I'm going to put this, actually, I'm going to do something different real quick. This might help a little bit. I might have to shrink this down a little bit. But here's you, okay? We're going to make sure that you understand that this is you, okay? At the top there. And when you bring somebody in, they're basically on what we would call your first generation. You can all see that, correct? Can you see that good? Joseph, give me a nod, head shake. Yep, good, okay. And so if you sponsored that person, that would be on your first level. And if you sponsored another one, that would be on your first level. And you sponsored another one, that would be on your first level. And it sponsored another one, that would be on your first level. regardless of what package they are in, okay? So that's how your first generation rolls. It would be the same as I just showed you on that one with all the dots on it. Now, how the binary works is it's basically, it's something going simultaneous to this. This is basically what we call your enrollment, meaning what you are personally responsible for. But the power of a binary is it allows you to get paid not only your efforts, but you have the potential to earn off of other people above you's efforts. But let's say you right here, you sponsored your first person. They're going to show up in your genealogy as first level. In the binary, that person's package would go in here, right? Basically, the volume you'll see and their name will be placed, because they call it placement in a binary, would go here. So let's say this is Sue. We'll put an S here, and that's Sue right there. Okay. And then let's say you put another person in, and this is L for Larry. Okay. So you put over here, actually, I'm going to do R for Ron, because we'll make it Ron over there. So you have a left side and a right side. So you basically, when you place somebody, you had somebody on your left and somebody on your right. They're always on your first level. No matter how many people you personally enroll, they're always on your first generation genealogy wise. But as far as this goes, they're just going to go place far left, far right. Now, if each one of these, let's say this was $1,000, each one of these were first class people. So it came with it came with 1,000 in qualifying volume. So you're looking at your enrollment as getting promoted by 1,000 and 1,000. But in the binary, the commissionable volume is 600. So you could look at 600 here and 600 here. Now, what the computer does is the computer looks at this and gives you, based on what your level or what you came in at, either the 10, 12, or 15% on the dual team, because this is what the dual team is. So when you get somebody in, if you put 600 here and 600 here, it's kind of a break even at this point. But in a lot of times in a binary, what happens is, let's say somebody above you placed their fourth person in, and because they can only have somebody go on their far left, right, or far left, or far left or far right, they put their third person in and it dropped down under here. And let's say that person had 600 over here. Okay. So let me see if I can make sure I'm in the screen here. So you have 1,200 total, 600 here, 600 here, that's 1,200, and 6 here. Okay. That means that this is your stronger side, your bigger leg. And over here is your lesser leg. So that week, only that week, based on this exact scenario, you would make between 10 and 15% of that. So 10% of that is 60. And then I'm not going to be huge at math. What is that? 20%. So 15% of that would give you another few bucks. Okay. I can't think off the top of my head what that is. 15%. So you would make 15% if you were first class and dual, at what they call dual team qualified. Okay. That would add that up. Okay. So what's happening now, the rest of this volume, so the 600 and extra volume right here, actually will show up next week if this is all that happened that week. It's what they call carryover. So carryover volume allows you to just make money on that, and it kind of just banks, carries over. So then the following week, if you had, let's say you put these 2 more people in, but because people were coming over here, let's say you put your next 2 over here, right? So you had another 600 here, another 600 here. So 1,200 came in that week, and maybe this side was your lesser side. It would just figure out what the lesser side was, and it would carry the rest of that volume over. So you can actually do this. So in fact, I'll give you a perfect example. When I first joined, when I first joined the first week, I put a whole bunch of personals in, and I put them all down my right side. Well, then that leg was getting, got bigger and bigger. Well, then my left side was my lesser leg. Well, then all of a sudden my lesser leg got bigger, or I'm sorry, my right side was bigger. So I was putting people on my left side. And then all of a sudden my left side grew bigger. So then I started putting people back on my right side. And every once in a while, I mean, even though I have a pretty good organization because I sponsor people, you might have to go back and forth sometimes. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So this is very simply this. So the only money, just so you know, the only money that ever goes into or anything commissionable that goes into the dual team are simply the packages. Okay, you're purchasing. It's not recruiting. You're getting paid on. You're getting paid on selling basically a package to somebody that has actual tangible volume money attached to it. Okay, so that's what that is. Now, let me show you this real quick. Now, the other thing though is the new part of the comp plan is what they just came out with, which is called the Accelerator bonuses. This is a permanent thing in the company, is Accelerator bonuses. So in the Accelerator bonuses, let me get a clean slate. I like it a little better here. With the Accelerator bonuses, okay, on your first generation, let me just double check something here. Yeah, you make 15%. On this, you make 15% on your first generation off of what the commissionable packages are. So at the first generation, I'm looking at 90. There it is. I'm opening my screen and looking at something. When you sponsored this person right here, if this person came in at the first class level, okay, you're going to make 15% of the commissionable volume of the 600. That would pay you a $90 bonus. Okay, because you're making 15%. If they came in if you sponsored another one and they came in at the coach, I'm sorry, business, it would be $44.50. And if you came in at the other one, if they came in and you've signed up this person at coach, so this was a first class, this was a business, this was a coach, this one right here, you'd make $22.50, okay, basically, or $22.25, whatever it is. So you can kind of see the differences. So this right here is a way for you to get paid for bringing somebody in that buys a package, okay, and then part of that extra money is what is falling into the dual team that we just covered. Okay, so that's where the rest of that money comes into it. Because here's the thing, there's plenty of people that join binary comp plans that they get some people in, they put somebody left, somebody right, and then all of a sudden they put, let's say they put, this is their strongest guy, this was their strongest girl, and then people were putting people in this leg, right? In the normal comp plan that we used to have, you actually only ever got paid dual team on your lesser leg, okay? What those guys, what they figured out though was it's more advantageous, obviously, because comp plans dictate behavior, to pay more people quicker. They were able to add these bonuses so that if this was your best guy and you put him in your strongest leg, even if you never built your dual team, you still had the ability to make bonuses, because on the next generation there, you're making, let's see, I just want to double check, 3%. On the second generation, you're making 3%, okay? So basically of the 600, if this guy sponsored somebody here, okay, you would make 3% of this guy right here off of his package, regardless of what it was. And so if this right here, this guy was this guy, and he put this guy in right here, which was this guy, in normal, the normal way it was, you weren't getting paid on that. But that's why they added these, because now people are getting paid more and more weekly checks. And that's why we've created more and more momentum. Because ultimately, what is happening? What are we all watching these people get handfuls of? Customers, 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 customers. So all of these people are getting customers, and that's all it comes down to, is we're getting that like that. Okay, so let me keep you going here. Okay. But so basically you have on your first level, you've got when you sign somebody up, you're going to make a fast start on them, right? And that's your first way to get paid. But the big picture is when they get customers on your first generation, in the customers, the overrides that you make on the travel and whatever else comes out, you make 10%. Hopefully you can see that. That's a 10% in case you can't see that. I'll just try to make it a little, I'm gonna make it a little cleaner. Okay, 10%. So when you bring somebody in that gets customers, you're overriding their customers. So if this guy right here got a check off of, let's say that month for $2,000 off of his own customers. So he had enough customers that traveled, used the platform, and this guy right here made $2,000 off his own personal customers. Because those customers would not exist in our company and our platform without you referring Tom to this thing. The company gives you 10%. Okay, this is what the marketing dollars are. This is why networking is so powerful, is that we have the ability to acquire customers before advertising dollars are spent. That's why this thing is growing so fast. That's why we're so profitable. That's why most companies, all the other travel platforms, and just about every other traditional business has to spend millions upon millions of dollars daily, weekly, monthly, whatever, to spend money to acquire a customer, hoping they're going to purchase something, right? You don't know your cost, your ROI on what you spend a lot of times. They have to figure this stuff out. We've acquired customers before they've even done anything, so they're in our ecosystem. But then once the customer actually does something, which didn't cost the company anything, they basically allow us to either override it if it was your personal customers, 50%, but you brought Tom in the business, Tom acquired those customers, and he made $2,000 off of that 50%. But because Tom wouldn't be in this thing, and those customers for sure wouldn't be in this thing without you, 10% goes back to you. That means that out of 2,000, you would make 200 bucks off of it. That's the power of this thing. Because if you have people coming in that you're bringing on board that have handfuls of customers, like I just drew out with you before, right? You got handfuls of customers, all these customers, and all these people start making checks, and you're overriding it by 10%. Well, you're not overriding their check, you're overriding the travel customer savings bonuses at the 10%, right? This is where the big picture is, because all of these customers, like the value of a TSA right here, right now, is based on travel customers and drivers. But pretty soon, you guys all know about the PRIB, right? The PRIB. This is the PRIB. We got the iGo, right? The iGo. We now have the Vibe. We're going to have this. 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 And now all these customers are participating in the PRIB, which is just a massive cash flow generating thing for you and I that have taken the time to acquire customers. Taking the time to acquire customers. And the bigger the picture is on these customers, the more money that comes into your pocket. Okay. I understand that we all, and the thing is ranks are important. Like one of the reasons you should shoot for a rank is, one, they do obviously a lot of cool things for you as you rank up, director, senior director, and definitely Sapphire. Sapphire and above is really where they really take it to the next level. But what's happening is you are establishing customer base. You're establishing a customer base. You're creating leverage for yourself, that it's a walk-away income. It's a walk-away income. I never joined network marketing of any capacity to be a network marketer. I joined networking because the model made sense of getting overrides off of a massive customer base that I personally probably wasn't going to be able to do by myself. I mean, some of you guys by yourselves have acquired more customers than most people with teams have because of, what you've done, which is why this thing is going to be so freaking big. Okay. It's never been done before. You've heard Holden say this 1,000 times probably, or if you're new, you've maybe only heard it 10 times by now. But whoever whoever acquires the most customers, what Holton's always talking about is whoever acquires the most customers wins. He said, go wide with this thing, go wide with this thing, get as many people in as you can. That's why I personally recruit, right? Because a lot of times you can't tell who's going to do something. Like if somebody, you know, if I'm always dependent on somebody joining and building a big team, I'm probably kind of, you know, it's usually not going to work that way because the majority of people aren't the type of people that go build big teams. But there's nothing wrong with that. And that's why this thing is different. We're going to have to continually, when you have communication with people, especially anybody that's got experience in networking, with the fact that this is totally different. Like when I joined this company, I had basically been out of networking for about 5 years and was burnt the heck out. I didn't want to do networking, even though I had made great money, big money before, and I'd spent it all. It wasn't like I didn't join this and was loaded, right? Like I literally, in a small window of time, I lost like 5 businesses, three businesses that were producing good cash flow and you know, an outsourcing gig that I was doing. And I literally was like, I did not know what I was going to do financially. I really didn't have a clue. And luckily I still was open-minded enough to take a look at what this was, but it was only because Tommy stayed on me. Tommy texted me 15 different times. 15 different times he sent me texts. Okay. And I'm not saying you should badger and beg anybody, but we're friends. And he finally said, this one's different. This one's different. And what I remember, because I really take this as a profession, I dissect things. I think things out. I look at the puzzle. I think of the common denominator, the smallest person. I always think if my mom can't do this, it will not work. And if you look at what Holton's whole methodology and what he's spoken about, if you don't believe me, go watch the Las Vegas launch thing. It's on the Record Breaking Growth page, or it might be in the Boom Time. I'm pretty sure it's in First Class Business Group. I know it's in there. Make sure you take the time to watch it and listen intently about how he talks about this being different. And that the elephant, the monkey, and the fish, right? The elephant, monkey, and the fish. This comp plan is designed for all of them. Okay. I'm obviously in the monkey category. I can just jump on this thing and run. But fish are going to make money. Elephants are going to make money. Monkeys are going to make a lot of money, right? And that's what's so cool about the way this thing is happening. And you guys are all in this thing early. Like this is a reset right now. Right now, I mean, everything in the whole world just went reset. It's an equal playing field. Okay. Though a lot of you guys worked this during lockdown. And I understand the mental stress that you could have come in under during this period. I mean, it is really, really strange. Never happened in the history of the world, right? The whole world just said, hey, shut down. But we're coming out of it. We're coming out of it. And I've tried to mention this and I try to be positive with everything with you guys, you know, and I never sugarcoat anything, but I really think that we're about to come out of this stretch. Okay. And if you want to know how to get people in your opportunity, show them how they can acquire customers for free, and how they can earn income off of those customers. If that's all you did, you could do that on a piece of paper. You could do it on a little tiny notepad and sit down with somebody and draw it out for them or whatever, and say, look, here's the deal, or just talk to them. You understand the whole potential here. But I believe a lot of you guys and girls, obviously I always throw everybody together in guys terminology, are already setting yourselves up for stuff that 6 months from now, you're going to probably have tears in your eyes of the checks that are probably going to be coming in. Okay. Because it's not just the money, it's the freedom. A lot of people are probably always also coming to the realization that it's not so bad to wake up when you're done sleeping, to go ride your bike in the middle of the afternoon. I mean, that's what I do it for. I do it for freedom. Okay. That's why I've always done network marketing, and I've always done it for freedom. And like I said, I forgot, I don't even think I finished my story. I'm kind of jacked up on coffee right now, but I got excited to talk to you guys anyhow. But back when I said I built some businesses before in networking, and then I basically got out and I didn't do any networking for 5 years because I was really, really just tired of the same old, the same old grind. This product's better than this product. Brand new company, timing's better here. We have a new comp plan. Instead of 7 levels, we're paying you 8 levels. Instead of 8, and the next company we'll pay you 9 levels. And and it's just all this dumb stuff that continues to be regurgitated in the network marketing arena. It's no wonder people quit this industry. It's no wonder people don't like doing it, right? It's because it's like, people are they lose common sense sometimes. But what appealed to me, again, was looking at this. I thought to myself, what if I didn't want to build a team? Could I still make money in this opportunity and not make some money? Yeah, anybody could sell a protein powder, an oil, a whatever, right? A patch, and make a commission off of it. That's fine. Okay. But what if I could acquire, what would allow me, or what service, or what was it out there that would speed up my ability to acquire more customers quicker? And when I heard the idea of the travel, even though I'd been pitched on travel before, I blew it off. This one is what made sense, because we could acquire customers quicker, faster, and get paid way more money. And we were getting paid on savings, not on what they were spending, which is a completely different paradigm. But then most importantly, coming from my marketing background, I was thinking, man, if they start monetizing these customers multiple ways, people are going to make ridiculous amounts of money. And if you can get people that don't build a team, that have acquired tons of customers, and you can show that they're making money, that's what attracts people to do the business. Okay, because if it's all about always recruiting, which I'm, I train you guys to do that. But if it's always just about recruiting, then people kind of go, wow, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if this is worth doing or whatever. But I think what you're going to see is time for dry erase board. I knew there was one other thing I was trying to remember that's kind of an important thing is what you're going to see is what we call the critical mass point of a business. Okay. And here's a truth. This is a reality of a normal networking business, is we all start in the same spot. That's what networking is all about, is we all start at the same spot. But I'm going to put this over here as an E, because this is your effort level. Okay. Right here's your effort level. And down here is basically your I. We're going to call it the income level. Okay. In networking, in most cases, what people don't understand is that you have to have a launch point, and it takes a while for it to get to a critical mass point where it tips as well. But in most cases, what you're looking at is most of your effort is like this. You're working really hard, right? You're working really hard. And your income is like right here, right? And then maybe nothing that month. And then like this, and then all of a sudden like this, and then like that. Okay, let me see if I can pull that over here a little bit. Okay, you can kind of see that. But what happens here is this. This is where people, this is right here, from here to here. This is all a mental game. This part right here, from here to your critical mass point. What I mean by the critical mass point is where your effort level, all of a sudden, where your income level shoots past what you're really worth and what you're doing. Okay, it's hard to comprehend, because most people that you ever introduce to networking or this kind of thing are all under trading hours for dollars. Okay, but in a scenario like this, is your effort level is right here. Okay, you're second guessing. You get a no. You're starting to waver and that kind of thing. But we've all heard slow and steady wins the race, right? But what happens is if you stay the course and you add a rep who has a handful of customers, and here you add a rep who has a handful of customers, and this next month you add a rep and they have a handful of customers, TSA rep, same thing. And next month you have that. Well, guess what? This guy back here, He's experiencing the same, he's got to go through the same growth chart that you did, or she does. This one right here, all of a sudden adds a couple reps, right? Which is what's compounding to your income over here. But it started here, but it's compounding here. And then this person starts to put a couple in, and then all of a sudden these people start to mature. And what happens is this goes like this. And now you've got a business that begins to grow without you. Okay. Like I said before, from here to here is basically the valley of death for most people. Okay. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. It is not fun in the valley of the shadow of death from here to here. But when you get to this point right here, where all of a sudden people are joining your business every single week or every single month without you, that's where freedom begins to grow, right? And just because somebody joins this week without you doesn't mean you're done. It takes from here to here is minimum 12 months. From here to here is minimum 12 months of consistency, okay? And you'd be surprised sometimes too how quickly things can turn when somebody comes in or the right person comes in or something like that, because momentum happens. Because here's the other thing, is a rising tide lifts all ships. As the company goes, so goes the masses, right? So what's about to happen, I believe, in the next few months is you're going to see more and more people making more and more money. We're seeing already more and more people getting promoted. More and more customers are coming on board, and more people are going to make more and more money, which they're, it's not going to be a secret of some of the incomes that people are going to be making. I mean, you can't put it out there publicly. You can't put it out on social media. But if you're in a room with me privately and you want to ask me how much I'm making, I mean, I probably would tell you. I wouldn't put it out there publicly, but that kind of thing, and other people. But the thing is what's going to make this work so well is these single people down here that are probably with just customers only are going to be supplementing their incomes by $100, $200, $500,000 a month down the road, potentially, right? A hypothetical. And there's my disclaimer again, off of just what their personal efforts. But you can't help get people in when these people are jumping on board because of the opportunity that we have. I mean, that's what's so amazing about networking, is the power of that leverage standpoint. Okay. And I know you guys have all seen, I'll just keep it like that. You guys have all seen it. So I'm going to just draw it right here one more time. Okay. A company does the same thing, just so you know this. Okay. The company starts here and a company will do this. Okay. They'll have this was convention. Convention, it goes up, and then, oh, okay, I actually got to do work. Oh, another convention. I got to do more work. That wasn't as fun. Oh, convention. Oh, convention, right? You see how it goes? But what happens is it starts to steadily grow. And then what happens in a network marketing company is typically a network marketing company, when they get around 100,000 active, meaning active, not just people that joined the company from day one to day two, or to the date, is when you have 100,000 people active in the company, the tipping point number of 10%, of 10% of the people are probably working it aggressively. That would mean there's about 10,000 people that are doing something. Remember what is it? I don't know if it's Outliers. There might be a book, I think it's called Outliers, that talks about the 10,000 hour rule. And that's when you become an expert. It's strange stuff that's out there, but basically not strange stuff. It's like weird, but it's kind of amazing how those numbers take over. And in my personal opinion, it's never, ever failed me to get a tipping point, to get a growth business going myself, when I had 100 people total in my organization. Once I hit 100 people, the 80-20, the 20%, 10% rule really started to take off. So it started kind of go like this, and then right around 100, it just all of a sudden starts to pick up that exponential growth. Okay. I don't know. It's just the strangest thing, but I've always seen that happen. That's why I became such a good recruiter, because I'm impatient, to say the least. Is I became a really good recruiter because I did this in 15 years ago. I was in a company and I'm like, look, if I'm waiting on everybody else to do something, I'm probably going to be here forever. Because a lot of you guys recruit people and then you wait for them to get there and you go into manager mode, where you should never stop recruiting. Like, I never stop recruiting, because it's never failed me that if the more people I recruit, the bigger my organization miraculously turns out to be. Because you can't tell the duds from the studs, the zeros from the heroes. You can only control how many tomato plants you plant. You can't control how many tomatoes grow on that plant. That was the very first key thing I ever learned in network marketing 23 years ago, right? But what's happening here is this. So by doing that, you're starting to see those exponential numbers go. All of you guys have seen this, and it just bears repeating, that if you had 12 months in a year, right? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right? Let me see if I can see it. You guys see that? If the first month you got one in, it's you, right? Or you got one person in. The second month, there was 2 of you. And if each of you recruited 1, the following month, there'd be 4. And the following month, if everybody got 1, there'd be 8. Following month, 16. And the 6th month, 32, right? 32 times, let's say, each person with their customers and the money you make times $100 is what they're worth. You're going to make a check for about $320. You're 6 months in the business. Right here, you're not going to go want to quit your job and go buy a Ferrari, right? But you think that you're not making progress. But if you stayed consistent on helping you get 1 every month minimum, that's why the company has this promotion of get 2, because that's doubled if you do that. But right there, you think, wow, 320, 30, I'm 6 months in, I got 32 people on my team. You know, I'm not really making any progress. But if everybody stuck to that, 32 turned into 32, 64, and then 128, then 256, 512, 1,024, 2,048. Look at that, 2,048 right there, times everybody being worth about $100 with their customers total. That's $20K a month on that one right there. With those with those numbers of everybody just getting 1 a month. And I'm hoping I'm hammering this into your heads when you see this, because that's really what's going on here, is each person has that handful of customers. And if you build this out and you stay the course, what if you only had 10% of that happen? What if 90% of this doesn't happen and you don't make $20K a month, you make $2,000 a month? Who's happy with that? Because that gets some stuff done. I mean, you can get a nice house, you know, like I live in a nice house. It's like 4,500 square feet, and my mortgage is just over right around 2. That means if I got a residual income up to that, I basically am living in a nice house for that kind of money, and just everything else is just fun money, right? Does that make sense? So here's the thing, and I didn't, this is all coming off the top of my head, so I'm just kind of winging it with you guys. Hope you don't mind. But if you stay the course, you remember to keep it simple, focus on getting good at the brilliant in the basics is what I call it. Become brilliant in the basics of acquiring customers. The basics are acquiring customers and teaching a person how to acquire customers. That's it, believe it or not. Okay, yeah, I put some fancy, cool stuff out there, but literally the name of the game is acquiring customers and teaching someone that this makes sense to on how to acquire a customer base. Because you will have people that say, I want to do what you're doing. That's all it comes down to. That's as hard as it gets, is if you show somebody the potential of acquiring customers. So your job is to acquire as many customers as you can handle or want, and think big, right? Think big, think averages. Think what if every single customer I acquired was worth $1 a month to me? How many activated customers do you want? Just put that in your head and set that as a goal, And literally that's what you could do. You could literally do that. If you never wanted to build a team, you really don't have to build a team, but you will have people, because you're going to get good at this of acquiring customers that will want to know what you're doing. Inevitably they will ask, why are you doing that? Or you go back to all those customers you've acquired and you start telling them, or you send them an I decide or the sizzle call I got or a presentation, and they're going to come on board. And now your team starts to replicate. Now it starts to come. But literally becoming brilliant in the basics is you need to become good at two things: getting customers and introducing people to do the same. That's it. That's as hard as this thing gets. I'm not kidding. Okay. Everybody thinks that I'm this smart guy. I'm not. I am brilliantly ignorant to details. I'll put it to you that way. Brilliantly ignorant to details. So anyhow, I know I really went on a tangent there. I didn't realize I was going to go. It's been so long since I've drawn on a dry erase board. Maybe it was all pent up. When you do it every single week for 20 some years and then you don't do it for about a year, it gets going. And who knows, I actually might end up doing some, as soon as the hotels, I think I'm going to start doing hotel meetings just to see human beings again. So that's what I'm saying. So anyhow,